Hey everyone, this is Matt from End Sickness. Today I'm going to talk about the hidden causes of acid reflux. Okay, I'll discuss the things that people don't know about acid reflux and what to do about it, and how it's much simpler than you think it is. Actually, So first, let me say I'm not a medical doctor. This is not medical advice. This is for educational and informational purposes only. And let me get back to it. Acid reflux. Okay, I'll get straight to the point. Acid reflux is caused by an overgrowth of bacteria in the gut that have been feeding upon these foods that you've been consuming that are not digested properly. Okay, so the real problem is the food, yes, but by consuming gluten, dairy, nuts, seeds, processed foods, meat, I'll say again, too much meat. These foods that aren't broken down, what happens is they cause a release of acid to help break them down. And you have these excessive acid dumps in an attempt to break these foods down that the body has no other way of breaking them down because they're too complex for the body. And when you're having acid reflux, almost all the time, you've obviously got a compromised compromised gut and compromised digestive health. And the reality is when you have compromised gut health, you don't want to be putting complex proteins or dense proteins into your stomach. So dense proteins like meat, for example, complex proteins like gluten, casein from dairy, egg, nuts, seeds, those things. These things are all complex proteins that have a much lower probability of being digested fully and then much a higher probability of causing you problems, in essence, right? So acid reflux is something that will be generated by your own body in an attempt to break down foods that you cannot break down. What is the solution to acid reflux? Okay, now it's either too much of those foods that I mentioned or too much fat. Okay, now chances are you're not going to get a lot of acid reflux from plant-based oils like an avocado oil, which is a real soft oil, or a safflower oil or something like that. You'd more likely get an acid reflux from those foods or something like spices, strong flavors, herbs, strong sweet stuff, sugar, the stuff that's real strong flavored, right? Strong flavored, or these complex proteins. You got to go through an elimination process unless you want to be on PPIs forever and just chase that whole illusion. And if you remove the foods that are triggering you and you stop becoming dependent, addicted to these foods, then you could free yourself from this condition. It really is dietary driven. These foods that aren't being broken down are then messing with your gut microbiome. That's even affecting the way you feel, your immune responses, your state of mind. Everything is affected, right? Because that excess acid is a sign of excess histamine too. Histamine is an uncomfortable chemical to have too much of. If you have too much histamine, you have too little dopamine. And at the end of the day, that's not what you want, right? It's not what you want. So the real key is being able to get your body away from the irritants initially, and then start to feed it with the good foods like your rice, your beans, your potatoes, your fruit, your vegetables, etc. And start with the ones that work for you and diversify amongst those foods. Those foods are going to soak up the acid. Those foods they're not going to require acid to break down unless you're cooking them in too much oil or too many herbs or something like that. And those foods are going to be what you need as prebiotics to feed the good bacteria in your gut and make them multiply and grow and grow. You can't grow good bacteria if you have a gluten intolerance and you're eating gluten. It's gonna inflame the gut, and it's gonna make the bad bacteria grow because the gut's inflamed and the immune system is off balance. And that's the way it works. So you got to get rid of the irritants first, and then after that you got to start feeding it with the right foods, your prebiotic plant-based foods, and have a variety of them so you could feed a variety of these beneficial bacteria. Once you set that up, you want to go straight into prebiotics, other prebiotics to help grow the good bacteria. And when you say to yourself, I can't eat just plants, that's not possible. Well, if I gave you $10 million right now to do this for 45 days, would you do it? I bet you would, right? And the reality is, if you can do it for 10 million, you should be able to do it for your own health, have that level of self-respect, give it a shot, try the elimination diet. All the people who tell you that meat and all those other, all these other irritants are worth eating are people who have not tried an elimination diet. I can tell you that right now, right? So go through the elimination diet, identify what the actual cause of your acid is, because it will be gone after a few weeks, a month of doing the right foods, or it'll be minimal, or it'll show up on just certain days. It'll be enough so you'll be able to see which things are triggering it, which ones are not. This is what I do. I help clients create a symptom log, a dietary log. We figure out where things are flaring up, what the actual causes of these things are, not some term, it's just acid reflux, I need a PPI, These are the things people are buying into nowadays. It's unbelievable. So that's what I would say. You start there, you get rid of the irritants, you start to get some prebiotics in there, Maybe at some point in time, you do something with additional supplements to help stabilize the gut, the immune system in the gut, like your beta-glucans, your colostrum, those things. But the reality is it's all a step-by-step process, and you want to do it usually with someone who knows what they're doing. So go to my website, endsickness.org, if you have any questions, or if you just want to look at the hundreds of articles or hundreds of videos I have on there about healing yourself. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.